everyone, thank you so much for clicking on today's video and welcome to my channel. In today's story, OP reaches out to Reddit because he has an argument with his mom's boyfriend after his mother died. Things get a little out of control and the mom's boyfriend ends up moving out of the house and into a homeless shelter. But there is a semi-twist in the update and things do end up having a happy ending. So stay tuned for the update to find out. If you like the story, especially at the end, I would really appreciate if you leave a thumbs up. And before I move on to the story, I just wanted to take a second and thank all of my subscribers. Thank you so much, you guys are wonderful. For those of you that don't know, I have a personal goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers. So if you like my content and would like to support me, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. Anyways, thank you so much for your time and on to the story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my mom's boyfriend and his kids from the home I inherited after my mom's death? They went to a homeless shelter. I really don't know if I'm the a-hole in this case. I apologize for my bad English. My parents divorced when I, a 19-year-old male, was 6. My mom got a boyfriend, who we'll call Josh, and they started living together when I was 9. He had twin daughters, who were 4 when they moved in. Their mom was not in their lives anymore. My mom took them in as their own. I admit that I was a little jealous because they had her full time and me only 50% of the time. I also think that my mom loved them more too. I was a quiet kid and spent most of my time in my room when my mom had me. I didn't want any siblings. My mom tried, but to no avail. By the time I was 16, I rarely spent time at my mom's place. When I went off to college, I got an apartment, even though my mom lived in the same city as my college. Mom tragically passed in December. Because Josh and her never got married for some reason, I inherited everything, including her house. I allowed Josh and the kids to still live there. I also paid half of the bills as he's still struggling because of a low-paying job. My lease ends in December and I decided to move into my house after. I sat down with Josh and I told him that I was moving in January. Since this is my house, I'll take the bedroom and he'll move to my old room. He started crying how the bedroom is his safe space and all my mom's things are there, which gives him peace. I told him that he could move a few of her things to my old room. My room is about 1/3 the size of the primary bedroom. He started crying even more that he doesn't want to abandon their bedroom. At this point, I was pretty pissed, so I told him to just get out of the house as I don't have the energy to deal with this stuff. I've since cooled down, but 3 days later he sent me a message to notify me that he had left the keys and that they had moved out. I found out that they went to a homeless shelter. I got messages from my mom's side of the family about how heartless and cruel I was to kick them out. How the twins lost their mom and home in less than a year. The twins texted me how they can't believe their own brother made them homeless and asked me what they did wrong. My dad and his family told me that I did nothing wrong. I do feel bad for them, but I still think that I should decide who gets the room in my house. So am I the a-hole? The OP then added an edit to later on. I'll call Josh today and ask him to meet. I will try to sort things through and I hope that we'll come to an agreement. Thank you to everyone for the opinions and suggestions. The overwhelming judgment was not the a-hole. Somebody commented, "You're technically within your legal bounds, and while I understand that you don't consider them your family, do you really think that it's a morally right thing to not share any of the will with who your mother had considered her life partner at the time of her death? Just because they never married?" Everyone's an a-hole here, acting purely on the warped grief emotions. To which OP replied, "I let them live in the house and paid half of the bills. Okay, it wasn't me, but it was my dad, as a way to share with them. I will probably give them what's left of my mom's savings after the lawsuit is complete. I left that money alone because my mom was responsible for the accident and that accident left one person disabled. He's suing me right now. I think that I am being generous." To which another Redditor commented, So many people are voting not the a-hole because you said in your post that you've been paying for half of the bills for all of this time. It turns out that you never paid for anything. Your dad did. So since your mom died, nothing has changed for you financially. You've stayed in an apartment as when she was alive. You told Josh that he needs to leave the bedroom that him and his partner shared, and when he doesn't react that way that you want, you kick them all out. I'll be honest, it's not a great look. Another Redditor commented, "Not the a-hole. A grown man shouldn't have to rely on a 19-year-old to provide for him or his 2 teenage kids. That responsibility is solely on Josh himself, and sounds like he's been smooching off your mom for a while." To which OP replied, "Actually, to be fair, I suggested that. They didn't get any inheritance and Josh is still struggling with money. That was the least I could do. They live rent-free and half of the utilities are paid. Now, a lot of people may wonder where I get the money from. My dad is actually paying for my apartment and the house utilities. Mom did have savings, but the civil lawsuit is pending. She caused an accident and an innocent person ended up disabled. Their family thinks that insurance didn't pay enough, so they filed the lawsuit against me. They will likely win. This is why I haven't touched my mom's savings. I wanted to say thank you for all of the advice and support that you gave me. I even appreciate the ones that didn't agree with me, as it gave me alternate point of views that I hadn't thought of. A lot has happened since my first post. We had the first mediation meeting about the lawsuit and we reached an agreement. I'll have to pay a quarter of my savings my mom left me, which is a lot less than I thought. I met with Josh a day after my post. It went unexpected. I apologized for my hot-headed response. I told him that I didn't really mean it and I invited him back home. He told me no. He admitted that it was actually very hard for him to live there. He saw my mom everywhere that he looked and it was very hard for him. He took my kicking them out as an opportunity to leave the house without his daughters resenting him. He basically made me the bad guy. He apologized for that. He didn't know that his daughters called my grandparents and me. When he found out, he confessed to his daughters and to my grandparents what he told me. I don't care either way about my grandparents as we have no relationship. How did he find out? My dad talked to him before me. My dad wanted to help him, so he called him. He even got Josh 10 free sessions with his good friends who's a grief therapist. And it's my dad that convinced him to talk to me. My dad is my hero, and in this case, the real master of puppets. Josh will move in temporarily with my grandparents. I talked to my dad about the money, and I've decided to give Josh the rest of my mom's savings. He can buy a nice apartment and still have some left over. Josh was very happy and thanked me over and over again. I did it for the peace of mind. We probably won't have much of a relationship moving forward. For me, this chapter of my life is now officially closed. I'll probably sell the house after my graduation from college. It has no sentimental meaning for me. And that's it. I hope that there'll be no need for any more updates. So guys, what did you think about this? I did think that it was a little weird that a grown man with 2 teenage daughters is dependent on the young adult son of his now deceased partner. Those dynamics are incredibly weird. And if I'm being honest, I wasn't necessarily a fan of how OP was trying to pass off his dad's generosity as his own. Like, I understand your parents' money and resources are your own to some extent, at least until a certain age, but this definitely left a weird taste in my mouth. That sort of segues into our next point of how absolutely incredible the dad is. Like, not Josh, OP's dad. OP's dad is so incredible, like he's supporting everyone, and especially how supportive he was of Josh and his daughters as well. I think that it's so incredibly kind. Despite Josh acting really weird and blaming OP for the fact that he wanted to move out of the house, I do wish him the best and I do wish his daughters the best. And I'm glad that he's able to get some sort of financial support that'll at least help him land on his feet. Anyways, what did you guys think? Please let me know in the comments down below. I'm really interested in hearing your takes. And once again, if you like this story, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a thumbs up. And please subscribe if you'd like to hear more stories from Reddit with updates.